Hi, my name is Autif Kamal, and this is another workshop on logic and reasoning. This one is on assumptions within conjunctive propositions. If you have any questions or comments, you can relay them to me via Skype. My username is autif.kamal, or by email. My email address is projectoptimization@gmail.com. Okay, so the particular kind of conjunctive proposition that I'm going over is one that contains but rather than and. And also, I'm referring to a specific kind of conjunctive proposition that contains but, and it's one which has a contrast between both conjuncts. When you have two conjuncts and one of the conjuncts has details expressed about it, but the other does not, but you have that contrast, then whatever details are implied are stated explicitly about one conjunct, the opposite will be true for the opposite conjunct. And I'll give you an example of what I mean. So I'm getting this quote from, it's not directly from this article, but it's inspired by this article. I'm getting this from the Associated Press via Yahoo. It was written by Anita Hofschneider, who wrote the article Honoring Veterans as Monuments Decay, Funds Dry Up. This is the quote that was inspired, that I've created. Caldwell claims that demolishing the structure will be cheaper than renovating it, but the Friends of the Natatorium dispute this. Okay, so you have Caldwell making a claim, and the contrast is that the Friends of the Natatorium are disputing his claim. Now, if the Friends of Natatorium are disputing that demolishing the structure will be cheaper than renovating it, that could mean one of two things, which basically mean the same thing. The first is that the Friends of Natatorium believe that demolishing the structure will cost more than renovating it, or the Friends of the Natatorium believe that renovating the structure will cost less than demolishing it. It was not explicitly stated in this proposition, in this conjunctive proposition, but it's implied that if they disagree with the claim that demolishing the structure will be cheaper than renovating it, they must think the opposite, that it would be more expensive than renovating it. Okay? Now here is an example for you to do. Again, this is a quote that was inspired. It isn't coming directly from this article. This quote was inspired by an article in NBC Sports. It was written by Josh Alper. The name of the article is Jolinta, Ravens Were Dumb Not to Sign Flacco Last Year. Okay, and the quote, well, I guess it's not actually a quote, it's just a text that I wrote. The Ravens lost 3 players after Joe Flacco's contract extension, but Flacco's agent says that the blame should go to the Ravens. Okay, now I'm going to give you a little hint here in terms of how to formulate the assumption. Now, if Flacco's agent thinks that the blame should go to the Ravens, then who should the blame not go to? Hopefully that's a good hint. Hopefully I'm not giving too much away. In any case, I'll give you a moment to work on this exercise. If you need more time, you can pause the video. Otherwise, I will move on to the answer. So if Flacco's agent thinks that it's the Ravens' fault, so they deserve blame for losing the 3 players that they did, then he must also think that no blame should go to Flacco for Ravens' loss of the 3 players. Otherwise, he wouldn't just say that the blame, as in all of the blame, should just go to the Ravens. Now, if you'd like to make your own exercises, you can peruse articles online on websites that I've mentioned before, like books.google.com, like yahoo.com, or businessweek.com. And then, based on the sentences that you find, and you'll find those sentences by pressing and holding Control and pressing F, you'll get a search box, and then you want to type in but, like B-U-T, and you want to try to formulate your own conjunctive propositions. You want to make sure that there's a contrast between each of the propositions, such as the contrast that I showed you in these exercises for this workshop. And then after you've identified the contrast in the propositions you've either taken verbatim or you've used as inspiration to make your own, you want to determine what the assumption is. Okay? Now next up, I'll talk about how to convert conjunctive syllogisms to disjunctive or conditional syllogisms. And basically, this will just give you other variations of how to understand logically what a conjunctive syllogism means. Okay? I'll talk about that in greater detail in the next workshop. Alright, thank you.